Thank you. Let me reopen what I was in. So funny how things suddenly disappear when you're in the middle of doing a share. Okay, there we are. All right, so let's get right to it. I'm going to introduce our speakers and then I'm going to turn it over to them. Our speakers are Jan Tedder and Benedita Costa. Jan Tedder is a nurse practitioner, FNP, and a lactation consultant, BCLC, researched and developed the Hug Your Baby program. Hug's award-winning online courses and evidence-based parent resources have been shared with 50 countries and tribal nations around the world. Jan was recently honored as the American Nurses Association Innovative Nurse of the Year. Benedetta Costa is a PT, a CME, and a trainer with IAIM, or International Infant Massage, since the 1980s. She founded the IAIM Italian chapter, and she served as the president for 6 years. Benedetta helped to translate Hug materials into Italian and became the first certified Hug teacher in her country. As a Hug trainer, Benedetta has introduced Hug Your Baby across Italy to professionals and the parents they serve. Thank you, ladies, for being here, and take it away.
Thank you so much for your warm welcome, your warm, kind words. I'm so happy to be here with you. You know, I am again at home because I am in USA, where my adventure with infant massage started in 1983. I have been trained by Vimala McClure. At that time, I was a young mother, and also I did the training as a mother and a future instructor. So this meeting Vimala changed my life, and that's when I started. And I met another wonderful woman in 2014, and it's Jan Tedder. And she was, we met we invited Jen to be part in Italian educational conference in 2014. Linda Storm, she was the one that made the connection with Jen. And then when I started to know the first time, hear about the infant Hug Your Baby, and something touched me. And when I start to talk with Jen, I really felt that we shared so much, and we really, it was as we knew each other since very long time, because we spoke the same language, we shared the same passion for families, for babies. And so I started to, this was 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and I felt that the Hug Your Baby principles fit so well with infant massage. You know, we talk about sorry for my English now. I have to we talk about you know, we know that infant massage is not only strokes, but it's something regarding communications, and we know how much is important reading the cues and understand the language, the baby's language. And this is where really I found in Hug Your Baby a great help and a great tool for us. Just it's enough to think about the asking permission. When we ask permission, it's so important to see how the baby responds. And when we teach parents to look at the signals of yes, of no, or when during the massage the baby needs a pause, needs a time out, needs to. This is so important to be, that sometimes the signals are so subtle, so little, and to know more about this, I think that can really improve also to the the time of massage for parents. Next, Jen, please. So there is a kind of, all the puzzle of this started to come together, and Jen has the DVD, the roadmap also for breastfeeding success. These tools that we translated in Italian, and so I started the adventure of Hug Your Baby in Italy, as well. As I did with infant massage in the early 80s years in the other cycle. The next one. And Jen Tedder has been a pioneer also for the online education. She, even before the pandemic or COVID times, she started to offer the opportunity to learn through the online. She has a beautiful, incredible videos and tools, and I was very impressed when she showed her this way also to teach, and now she has this her presentations and their course online, and you can imagine now in this times how useful, helpful has been to have this kind of material, learning material available to teach parents. The next one. And now in Italy we have more than 300 Hug Your Babies people, professionals. They follow the course online, and we have also 64 today certified Hug teacher. You can become Hug teacher. All the steps you can follow in the online education, which is so effective, so well done. I am amazed how much you can learn in person, but also through these online courses. So very, very well done. And another thing that we share with Hug Your Baby, I say we infant massage people, is the internationality. Since Jen travel all around the world to bring this her message, but she is so always so alert. She pays a lot of attention to all cultures, all really. We know that babies are around the world are always where there is a family and there is the babies. We speak really the same language, and I found this another great value. The next one. So we know, the infant massage people and Hug people, we know that being a new parent today represents a challenge for many of our for new parents, and especially during this COVID time, where the next one, the research says that the problems around postpartum anxiety and postpartum depression increased a lot. And so we all feel the urgency, the need to support the families, the young families, in the best way, with our best skills. And we know that the first step, it's really is the one that Dr. Brazelton taught to us, and taught to us in semis in around the world. We know how much understanding the baby's behavior. This is what Dr. Brazelton taught us to us. It's so crucial. It's so crucial, and how much it affects the relationship with the parents, for parents and baby, and also attachment as well. So no more about the change of sleep, wake cycles, and the response of physiologic stress. This is what Hug Your Baby bring us. But since the words matter, the words make the difference. So I was really amazed how Genteder they took care to find the right words, to have a language, special language for to be more, come si dice, more easy for parents to understand. No, they don't have to understand our language, but she tried to have we have to go back with to bring to their language, the language of family. So she changed the behavioral states, and she suggests to consider the zone. We know how much, and she found 3 different zones to observe the newborns. The resting zone, which is the zone, the sleeping zone, the zone to rest, the ready zone, and the rebooting zone. Rebooting comes the term from the computer. We know when the computer go crazy and we need to adjust something, to do something, and that's when it needs a rebooting. And this is the same word for babies, when there is something to do, to change, because they need and help to come back to be more stabilized and organized. And of course the ready zone. I left the ready zone for last one, because we know how much have the babies ready, and recognize this zone. It's so important for the massage time. We always suggest to parents to find the best time for massage, and the best time is when the baby is ready. And when is the baby is ready? How we can recognize the baby is ready. We have, of course, the description Brazelton he did, but this is talking about zone. It's something that make it very easy and very understandable. Another aspect I found crucial, for very important also for us infant massage educators, is the response of physiologic stress. It's so important when the baby say no, stop, have parents recognize this time. And again, look how Jen find a new way, new words to better explain this. And she suggests to call this the physiologic stress sending out an SOS. See how much it sounds different and change. And SOS is stay for sign of overstimulation. So when we have the baby sending a sign of overstimulation, what to do, how to recognize these signs. This is something that we teach, and it's part of our discussions at the end of our session, and also during our classes, infant massage classes. We have a video here now to show this is a perfect English, so you will understand much better. And this is the video regarding, it's part of the part of the video that described the zone and SOS. So I invite you to watch the video now. Can you hear the sounds? I don't hear the sounds. I don't know if you
takes in so much information, either from the outside world or from inside her body, that she becomes overwhelmed with too much stimulation. The second parent skill is recognizing when your baby sends out an SOS. SOS stands for Sign of Overstimulation. All newborns are at times overstimulated as they adjust to being out in the world. Babies born early SOS more often. The first way babies send out an SOS is with changes in their body's skin color, movement, and breathing. This baby, who was born a few weeks early, shows these body SOSs. See how his face turns a bit red in color? His muscles jerk and shake, and his breathing gets faster. The second way babies send out an SOS is with changes in their behavior, spacing out, switching off, and shutting down. This baby demonstrates the first behavioral SOS, spacing out. Watch as Jan plays with the baby by shaking a rattle. The baby begins to look like she is staring into space. Spacing out is a sign of overstimulation. This baby demonstrates the second behavioral SOS, switching off, described in the medical literature as gaze aversion. The harder the mother tries to get the baby's attention, the more the baby looks the other way. This switching off is a sign that the baby is trying to manage the amount of stimulation she takes in. Mothers are relieved to learn what this behavior means, and that it is not a sign that the baby is rejecting her. This baby demonstrates the third behavioral SOS, shutting down. Again, we see Jan playing with the baby. Though the baby is momentarily engaged with this play, she soon begins to get drowsy and shuts down as a response to too much stimulation. When you notice your baby having an SOS, you wonder how to help. You can respond to an SOS by decreasing stimulation and increasing support of your baby. Decrease stimulation by speaking quietly to the overstimulated baby. Increase support by holding your baby's hands against his chest or gently swaying him. Putting your baby skin to skin or breastfeeding him will also decrease that SOS.
So we know how much it's important to not misunderstand a baby's behavior, because a mother may say, "Oh, my baby doesn't like massage." Maybe it's only they are showing a sign, an SOS. They receive it too much, and we know that massage could be overstimulating sometimes especially for fragile babies or premature babies. So it's so important to recognize this sign, and it really helps to improve also the massage, performing the strokes. The video we already seen is part of, there is other big topic around sleeping, eating, crying, attachment, and the video is also translated. We have in Italian, of course, but I know that it's also available in Spanish. And now let's hear from Jen now.
Okay. Well, isn't it fun that Benedetta and I met around the world and have, she taught me so much about the world of infant massage, and it's just been a great joy to come into her very special world and learn about the important work that all of you do. I'm quite enthusiastic that that Hug Your Baby and Infant Massage, we are like sisters out there in the world to serve the families. And I'm hoping that today you'll be inspired by a little bit of the way we've collaborated in the work we're doing. Benedetta shared some of Dr. Brazelton's pediatric perspective, but I'd like to share this child development perspective that is under the umbrella of what is called responsive parenting. And I love the way the World Health Organization teaches there are 3 steps to responsive parenting. That first, a parent has to notice a baby's behavior. And that doesn't mean just kind of seeing the baby, but really noticing those different parts of that baby's behavior. And after they notice it, to understand it accurately. So a baby that looks away from a mother may see the baby looking away from her, but it would not be accurate to say that that baby doesn't love me. So we need that parent to understand what that behavior means, and then to take action that is supportive and responsive to that behavior. And what we know is that when that happens, and we see this with all the literature, child development literature, that when that happens, it really is the core of that baby's emotional, intellectual, and social development. And Benedetta and I love this little video, which is a daddy who is watching like America's Got Talent with his toddler, who is not yet speaking English. But as you watch this family, you can see that there really is a lot of communication going on here. By the way, I think I hear some people who don't have their muting on. If you'll make sure that your audio is muted, then we'll be able to hear better. Thank you. Okay, just a little 2-minute video here.
Did you understand it though? No. That's what I was wondering. I don't know what they're gonna do next season because they did some stuff this time. Exactly what I was thinking. Right. Don't bring that in. You know what I'm saying? Don't do the same stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think that. Yeah. That's what I said. He was like, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, what in the world? Don't do that here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Really? I thought the same thing. We think a lot alike, huh?
So one of our colleagues in our leadership, Hug Your Baby leadership, worked for many years with at the Center for Disease Control as one of the primary parent educators for that organization. And the research is really exciting about when we teach parents to understand, notice and understand a baby's body language as a newborn, that curiosity about understanding that baby's behavior, and that the joy that it gives parents, as we see in this video, is really something that the world of child development thinks can carry on in the trajectory of that parent-child relationship forever. And so it's really to think about the opportunity we have to actually teach parents to read a baby's body language as a newborn, and how that ability can be sitting there with a mama and a baby when that baby is a teenager one day is pretty exciting opportunity. And so what the research shows us is that when there is this responsive parenting going on, there is less postpartum depression, more confidence in that parent, increased breastfeeding, decreased family stress, and even decreased obesity. And I love this little teenage mom who came to our class on understanding a baby's behavior. And look what she has to say about that.
I thought it was really special the way that Carson communicated to us as a tiny little baby. And I wondered if you would share a little bit about how you learned to read his body language and what that meant to you.
Yes, when we were talking, you were showing me some of the little signs, like him squinting his eyes, and him like moving his arms wildly and his legs. That means that he's been overstimulated. So we tried different things, like putting his arms close to his chest and swaddling him and rocking him back and forth, and that seemed to help. You can tell the difference between when he's being overstimulated versus when he's just closing his eyes and being calm.
Yes. And I remember, I love that when we talked about this, you said you were going to teach your sister and your mom, and so y'all all were paying so much attention to these little ways that babies communicate. That's great.
Yeah. Babies are very smart, smarter than what we think we are.
And certainly this is the attitude we want a mother to have, that babies are so smart. This baby was born early into a family that was really at high risk for not being successful as a new parent and as a breastfeeding mother. But this woman was successful breastfeeding. And when she went off to community college, she started a group for other teenage mothers to learn about reading their baby's body language. I just heard from her. It's been 10 years. I just heard from her recently on Facebook, and she's a director of one of the social services programs at UNC. So when we think about the literature, we also think what's a passion of mine as breastfeeding literature and why mothers stop breastfeeding. And what we know is that mothers stop breastfeeding for different reasons according to the age of the child. Certainly, if a mother never gets help with breastfeeding, she's likely to give it up in the newborn period. She may give it up in a 4-month-old who has a nursing strike she doesn't understand, or a 9-month-old who starts waking up all times during the night, and a mother doesn't understand what that development is trying to tell her. But what all of these mothers said was that I stopped breastfeeding because my baby was not satisfied. And it wasn't that the baby was not satisfied. It was that the baby exhibited behaviors that the mother misinterpreted, those SOSs, as that the baby was not happy. Now, Dr. Brazelton talks about this same kind of idea in his touch points theory, which I just really, with the first time I learned about this, I thought how pertinent this was to breastfeeding support. And what he taught us is simply that when a baby is going through a developmental surge, when this baby who's sitting really well begins to start crawling, when that happens, all of these babies have this disorganization, this temporary disorganization in their eating, their sleeping, or their general behavior. This is a prime time that mothers will feel frustrated as a mother, feel that they're not being a good mother, and also give up breastfeeding. Now, the good news is we know when these developmental surges are going to happen. Child development alerts us to when these developmental surges are going to happen. But what was pretty exciting to me was that I realized that that information had never been shared with the breastfeeding world. And so it led to the development of the Roadmap to Breastfeeding Success, which is a handout and now a educational program for parents and for specifically for professionals to share with parents that help parents learn about those developmental surges from the prenatal and the birth period all the way through that first year of life, when the baby's behavior is going to change and how the parents can successfully respond. So just going to highlight a couple of these for you. Certainly during the prenatal time period, we want families to be able to think through, why do I want to breastfeed? We want that to be a very personal reflection, not kind of that long list of all the ways that breastfeeding is beneficial to babies and families, but why for me, I want to breastfeed. I mean, it could be because my mother has breast cancer, and I know that breastfeeding will decrease my incidence of breast cancer. Or it might be that my brother has asthma, but I want to breastfeed because I know that breastfeeding will decrease my baby's chance of developing asthma. So personalizing that information, where will they find both the professional and the personal support that they need, and can they learn to read the baby's body language? And so that's why we really advocate using this parent education DVD. It's a 20-minute video to help parents learn to read their baby's body language. Then when the baby gets born, we of course want them to know about the World Health Organization's recommendations of skin to skin care, breastfeeding the first hour, rooming in with that baby. We want them to be able to notice those early feeding cues, like bringing the hand up to the mouth, smacking the lips, or starting to wiggle and squirm as a baby's way of saying, I'm starting to get hungry. And also, of course, how you follow the baby's pees and poops in order to know that breastfeeding is being successful. Jumping on over to the 2-week time period, what we know is really important is that when families cannot understand and manage the normal crying in a baby, there is a significant increase in postpartum depression in either the mother or the father. A lot of increase, as we know, in the stress within the family, and often breastfeeding is abandoned. But what we can help parents understand is that there's this normal increase in full-term healthy babies, a normal increase in crying starting at about 2 weeks, peaking at about 6 weeks, and then decreasing over the next number of weeks. And when families know that, when they're not misinterpreting that crying as evidence that I'm not a very good mom, it really does increase the confidence of the parents. And we use in the video showing families these very practical ways of calming a baby, using the voice, hands to chest, swaying the baby, wearing the baby, putting the baby onto the breast, and even swaddling the baby. So instead of showing you that part of the DVD, I'd like to introduce you to another one of our Hug Your Baby resources, which is our Hugs Around the World Lullabies. So my husband, Jim, here with the gong, is a professional musician. And so while we traveled internationally, I was kind of worried that he might be a bit bored because we would be going to all these childbirth and parenting conferences, but actually he was not a bit bored. But what he would do with the different countries we went to, he would study the musical traditions of that country. And then we together, we wrote some lullabies that helped to teach about child development. And so this is my favorite one that helps. It was inspired by the music of Korea, that helps to teach how important fathers can be to help calm their fussy baby.
My daddy knows how to help when I've lost my way. He holds my hands to my chest, softly calling my name. Sometimes I feel so upset, my face gets red as can be. He helps me settle and rest, smiling calmly at me. If I am fretful or frown, getting ready to cry,
And of course, we know that, first of all, that music is kind of an emotional teacher for us, but we also know that when fathers are involved in helping to calm a baby into the hands-on care of a baby, that mother's breastfeeding duration is enhanced and mother's anxiety decreases. So finding ways to nurture that father's involvement, I believe, is really important. Then we move on to the 1 month time period. And what we want to help families think about then is how to help their baby, how to understand their baby's sleep cycles so that they can help that baby move into more successful sleep patterns in the months ahead. So this is the part of the video that shows something that I am sure most of the parents you served will not know, which is that there are two main sleep cycles, the still deep sleep and the active light sleep.
This baby shows us what still deep sleep looks like. Her body is still. She surprises her mother by not responding to any stimulation. There is no movement of her eyes and her eyelids stay shut. Her breathing is deep and regular and she makes no sounds. Every hour or so, a newborn will transition from this still deep sleep to active light sleep. This baby is in active light sleep. Her eyes might flash open. She puckers her mouth, makes sucking movements, vocalizes, and can even smile. But this baby is not waking up. She is just transitioning from her still deep sleep to her active light sleep. In only a few minutes, we observe that she transitions back to still deep sleep. Her parents are delighted to learn that important brain development occurs during the active light sleep cycle.
I would wake up every time he made a whimper at night thinking he needed to breastfeed. I just was exhausted. I didn't get any more than an hour of sleep at a time, and that was a maximum. He seemed frustrated. I seemed frustrated. We're both crying in the middle of the night. When I met with you and you started talking about the active sleep and the deep sleep, it made a lot of sense.
Could you describe what it looked like to you to see him having what you think now was active sleep?
Yes, active sleep looks almost like awake sometimes. His eyes even open, flash, look back and forth. His arms shoot up and they shoot down. Sometimes even a cry or a whimper. And what I've come to realize through your training and DVD is that he can stop that on his own. And now we have a wonderful nighttime relationship.
So just one more example here. At the 4-month-old, we know that the 4-month-old has these two primary developmental surges, a surge in their cognitive development. So they are so curious about the world around them that they will pull right off the breast when the dog walks by or the husband turns on the TV, and that they're rolling over, both of which can cause this disorganization in the baby's eating and sleeping. And so here's our little video that goes along with the 4-month-old.
A 4 to 5-month-old is on the way to exciting motor and mental development. Notice this baby's determination, frustration, and then surprise by rolling over. In just a moment, the baby seems pleased with her accomplishment and is ready to explore the world from this new perspective. Rolling over often happens at the same time a baby becomes increasingly aware of her surroundings. See how she pulls right off the breast when she hears another voice? This distractibility is normal at this age. It is not a sign that the baby wants to wean. Instead, it's evidence of important mental development. Mothers learn that breastfeeding in a less stimulating environment often helps the baby settle down for her meal. Babies who are especially sensitive to developmental surges may be energized by these developmental changes and begin to awaken more at night. If a mother does not anticipate these changes, then she might think her baby is hungry and needs more nighttime calories. However, mothers who understand developmental surges can continue the breastfeeding pattern that was working before the changes began.
So during the pandemic, one really exciting project we pulled off was we made a 1 to 2 minute video at each of these developmental times. And so that families who we introduce to the idea of reading their baby's body language and understanding their newborn, we're offering the same kind of information like you've seen several of here, all the way through that baby's life, because we know up through the baby's first year of life, because we know that if a mother misunderstands that information, she's likely to give up breastfeeding. So just one quick word about something that Benedetta and I are passionate about, which is the idea of how we teach. And we know, as this quote tells us, that parents don't care how much we know until they know how much we care. And so over the years, Hug Your Baby developed these concepts, these 3 hug strategies, and I'm only going to mention one of them today, the see, then share Hug Your Baby strategies. So we were all inspired, I think, by watching the Olympics, and during the process of watching the Olympics, we all came into contact with this idea of broadcasting and commentating. Broadcasting, when someone who we were watching the gymnasts and the broadcaster would tell us, you know, how fast the person was running down the mat. She sprang and with her left hand touched the horse and flipped up, you know, they were describing exactly what the person was doing. And commentating would be the person who would come on afterwards and explain the importance of what they were doing. Like, you know, that this person had just sprained their ankle 3 weeks ago, but here she had had this amazing, with the support of her team, she had really done such a great performance. So it's kind of surprising, but we have found that these ideas are very important to Hug Your Baby. We've decided that we've experienced that if we as professionals use broadcasting as a way to help a parent see the very things that we know that baby is saying, that it helps a parent kind of what I call do eyeball exercise, the parent become good at seeing those things. And then we can explain the importance of that. I just put together this little video that was done with a mother I was working with her premature baby. She had premature twins, and here we are broadcasting the baby's behavior. And see if you think, if you were the mother on the receiving end of this, see if you would think that this would be a more effective way of helping you understand a preemies behavior rather than someone just saying to you, this is the way a preemie acts. See what you think.
Let's see how your baby is communicating with us. As you gently sway her, I notice her eyes are squeezing shut. There is tightness of the muscles in her forehead, and there's tension around her mouth. Her skin color on her face is a little blotchy. The fingers on her left hand are splayed open, and she's breathing a little fast and just got the hiccups. Your baby is doing a good job showing us some body SOSs. Now that you've brought the baby to the breast to comfort her, I see that her eyes are relaxed and not squeezed shut. Her skin color is uniform. Her breathing is nice and regular, and her left hand is relaxed against your breast. With only spending a few minutes on the breast, your baby is no longer sending out those SOSs. She is relaxed and peaceful in your arms.
So we're excited about some research that's been done in the last 10 years about the work of Hug Your Baby, both the impact on professionals using the online courses that I'm going to describe in just a moment. And recently, a number of articles working with premature babies and childbirth education, NICU fathers, and an exciting article that's coming out in the next few months, which was done with a big control and intervention group in Japan, where they discovered that the Hug Your Baby, just simply teaching the Hug Your Baby ideas and sharing the video with pregnant families, decrease postpartum depression in those mothers and increase their confidence. So we're really, it's something that we felt was the case. So we're very excited that this well done research at 3 major universities in Japan did confirm those benefits. And finally, just to share with you a little bit of the resources that are available. As Benedetta mentioned, we have 4 online courses that are, 3 of them are 2 hours, and then the final one is the certification program. So you are invited to take one of the 2-hour courses that interests you, and we hope that a number of you will find that this is inspiring enough that you would want to take the full 4 courses. And they are online with a convenient come and go format. You just go to our website to the professional section and you'll find the online courses, and they're very economical and approved for continuing education credit. We know that parents, if you go to the parent section of our website, I have been offering during the pandemic a free Zoom class, a 2-hour preparing for breastfeeding class that you are all invited to invite your family members, all the parents you serve to come to this 2-hour preparation for breastfeeding. It's just been exciting to see how successful it is to give these families this basic information. And it really does have at the heart of it this idea of reading a baby's body language and of the connectedness that occurs when families can be successful in meeting their breastfeeding goals. And then finally, I want to share our most recent and most exciting resource, which is that we have put the Hug Your Baby DVD onto a website page that professionals like yourself can access and make this page available to the parents you serve. So what's on this website page is the 20-minute parent education DVD, and all of these resources are available in both English and Spanish. Then families can discover the handout that explains the main ideas in the Hug Your Baby video, and they can either be read online or downloaded. And then of course the parents come down the page to discover the roadmap to breastfeeding success. And as I mentioned before, each of those videos, those 1 to 2 minute videos that describe how a baby's development is changing at that time period and how that development might impact the breastfeeding experience is covered. Coming on down the page, we develop short, really family-friendly newsletters at each again of these developmental events in a baby's life. For instance, this is the 2-week one that talks about that normal increase of crying at 2 weeks, has a link to that part of the video that talks about crying, and also has what I really love is a little family story about families encountering just this information and how important it was for them to explore. So I'm kind of wondering about next steps for you. I've just been so inspired by the work of Benedetta and by what she's helped me understand about our shared interest, our shared passion between infant massage and Hug Your Baby. And so I'm really hoping that you both as individuals and as an organization would consider collaborating, setting up some other ways of sharing our resources. And I did want to let you know that I wanted to offer, if any of you, I'm hoping, would like to take one of our Hug Your Baby courses, for instance, the one on the Hug Your Baby strategies, the one on helping parents understand their baby's behavior, or the breastfeeding program, that in the next 2 days, I'm going to have these available with a 25% discount for any of you who want to purchase these. And so if you just go to our website, go to the professionals, to the online course, and if you just use the magic code infant massage, you'll be able to, when you check out, have a 25% discount for the next 2 days. You can purchase the course now. The course is alive and well for a whole year, so you don't have to have time before the holidays to take the course, but to go ahead and purchase it now at this discount. So let's see, we're about ready to be done here. We can stop for to see if there are any questions. I know that Diane had something she wanted to share at the end, or we also have one last lullaby I can share before we leave as well. But are there any questions that people would like to ask before Benedetta or I, before we leave today?
Thank you, Jen and Benedetta. I would like to just say that we have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions, and then we will have to end. But are there any questions or comments?
I'll just jump in and say thank you. It was such a joy to see both of you. And honestly, I think all of our CMs that are watching this today can see how well the programs align. So thank you for offering this, Jen, as an option for continuing education. Even though we don't require continuing ed for our CMs, I think we all just look for it on our own in our hearts, and because we always want to learn and serve families. So this is a wonderful opportunity for our CMs to have something that connects really well with the program. So thank you. And Benedetta, always lovely to see you.
Great. Yes, so absolutely, I agree. I just have a question about the cultural differences and the international, connections that you both have made in Asian countries and in Italy and in other parts. Obviously, there's some subtle cultural differences, but do you find that it's universal in terms of infant, the stress when you have an infant and the ideas of, incorporating infant massage? I just wondered your thoughts about that.
Why don't you respond to that, Benedetta?
I was waiting for you, but okay. I think that the culture there are more difference among the ways, the reactions to the signs. I mean, the family, they have different ways, father or in the family, different ways to react. But the signs, the baby language, it's always the same, everywhere the same.
And I actually was more worried about that when I was doing international teaching. I certainly don't want to come across as this sort of American out there who feels like we, have so much to share. But I really was impressed that like Benedetta is saying, reading the baby's body language, those signs of overstimulation, everywhere I went, people thought that is so obvious, but we have been sharing that with our families. And so that has been really rewarding to us. There have been some differences, like I remember teaching one time in Italy when I was first there, and someone says, well, we don't believe in swaddling here. So I said, well, that's fine. I recently was teaching, doing an online course with Malaysian people, and they had some differences about what was appropriate as far as, like, we often tell parents to let a baby suck mommy's finger if they think the baby just needs to calm down a minute, and they were saying because of infection, they don't recommend that. So, some kind of caretaking differences, but really the passion to understand your baby and the passion to be a good parent certainly is thankfully universal.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's amazing how it is universal, but it's also very different. And so our patience and our ability to accept the differences and then still be able to share, right? They teach us as much as we teach them. One of the questions or one of the comments is, if you could please, both of you ladies, put your contact information in the chat so that some of our participants today would like to contact you with some questions. So I would like, while they're doing that, I would just like to thank our speakers We were blessed today to have such amazing information and reminders and ideas, right? And I also want to thank you, our participants today, for being here and sharing with us your questions and your time. Each and every year, we rely, of course, as you know, on generous donations like you to help us to continue the work of providing nurturing touch and communication in our community. Will you please help us out with a donation? These are the things we can do with donors like yourself who donate. Donors like yourself help us support programs like infant massage classes to empower parents and caregivers. It helps us to encourage research initiatives and improve the well-being of babies, providing programs like infant massage classes to empower parents and caregivers. So all you have to do, as you know, is to go to www.infantmassageusa.org/season of nurturing. Again, I thank everyone for being here and for the last 3 days of amazing speakers. If you would like to turn on, Jen, your music while we're like allowing people to exit, I think that would be a beautiful way to end our day today. If you have questions, Jen has put her contact info in there, and also Benedetta. Muchas gracias, everybody. And thank you again. And let's hear what this beautiful lullaby sounds like.
Great. Okay, let's see. There we go.
Every baby who's born makes a mother's heart warm. Born in a circle of caring, right from the start. Babies win our heart. In the first hour I get what my mom knows is best. Sleeping by mother's hand, I eat whenever I can. Every baby who's born makes a father's heart warm. Born in a circle of caring, right from the start. Babies win our hearts, thriving with mother's love. I guess just mother's milk, if mom must be away. Her milk's in night and day. Every baby who's makes a family's heart warm. Born in a circle of caring, right from the start. Babies win our heart. Mothers meet frequently with babies a lot like me. Everyone needs to share all the best ways to care. Every baby who's born makes a neighbor's heart warm. Born in a circle of caring, right from the start. Babies win our heart. Babies win our
That is beautiful. Tell your husband he's an artist. Amazing. I love it. Okay, I think that we are done for today. Thank you again to everyone, and I look forward to seeing everybody next time we do this. Benedetta, I'm coming to see you in Italy, and Jan, I'm sending my baby over.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
She's very excited, yeah.
Yeah.
She would love to talk with you. Well, everybody, please have
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Ashley, did you need to add anything before I close down?
I just wanted to say thank you for everyone for coming for Season of Nurturing, and you are amazing speakers, and we thank you so much for your time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you. It's done. You did an amazing job.
This is a lot. I mean, not a lot, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you never know what's going to happen, but everybody was so sweet and so like connected and involved. So I'm
Yeah,
very,
definitely.
very impressed by everybody's participation, you know, and just
Yeah.
everybody was like so into it.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go because they're not technically stories, but it's more like about this organization that's, you know, interconnected with infant massage USA. And I thought it was interesting to bring the international perspective from Italy too, and like her experience. So
Right? It felt so like almost like motivational, I want to say, you know, that why are we sticking only to one place? You know, why aren't we like spreading the wealth, you know? So I
Right.
just love that we had this perspective because, you know,